All right, today we're jumping into one of the most amazing and delicate events in the entire natural world, the Great Monarch Migration. It's a journey that's so epic, so incredible, it honestly still leaves scientists scratching their heads and just fills anyone who sees it with total awe.
Okay, to really get this, I want you to picture something. You're standing in a forest, but the trees, they aren't just green. They are literally alive, pulsating with these thick blankets of orange and black. And then, when the sun finally hits them, the air just explodes with the sound of millions of tiny wings, a sound that's strangely like a gentle rain. It's unbelievable.
And we're not talking about a quick flight around the block. Every year, millions of these butterflies embark on this insane journey of up to 3,000 miles. Think about that for a second. For a creature that weighs less than a paperclip, that is just a mind-boggling feat of endurance.
So yeah, let's get into it. This pulsating, winged wonder. How does it work? What's the science behind this incredible spectacle?
So you're probably asking, how on earth is a journey like that even possible? Well, the secret isn't magic, it's biology. And it all comes down to a very, very special group of butterflies. The key is something scientists called the supergeneration. And no, that's not a comic book name. These are not your average everyday monarchs. This specific generation is born with a single mission: fly south. And to pull it off, they have a kind of superpower. They hit pause on the reproductive cycle, which massively, massively extends their lifespan. And the difference is just extreme. Your typical monarch, it lives for maybe 2 to 6 weeks, but the supergeneration monarch can live for up to 9 months. That's just long enough to make the marathon flight south, survive the entire winter, and then start the multi-generational trip back north. It's this stunning evolutionary trick that makes the whole thing work. Now, here's something you might not know. It's not just one big road trip. You can think of the Rocky Mountains as this giant fork in the road. The monarchs born east of the Rockies, they're the ones making that legendary 3,000-mile flight down to Mexico. But their cousins west of the Rockies, they have a totally different destination, the coast of California. So first, let's follow that eastern population. If you're looking for that iconic, jaw-on-the-floor, I can't believe this is real National Geographic experience, then we're heading to the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve in the mountains of central Mexico. And within that massive reserve, the most well-known and easiest spot to get to is the El Rosario Sanctuary. You can basically think of it as the main stage for this whole performance. This is where you'll find the highest density of butterflies pretty much anywhere on Earth. The trees are just coated in them, these thick, shimmering orange layers. Now, you got to be ready for a pretty steep climb, but the payoff is absolutely immense. And here's a little pro tip. Get there early on a weekday, and you might just have millions of butterflies all to yourself. But okay, let's say you want to dodge the crowds and get a more low-key vibe. In that case, the Sierra Chincula Sanctuary is the perfect, more chill alternative. The hike here is often a little easier, and you're rewarded with these breathtaking panoramic mountain views. The whole place just feels less commercialized, and you absolutely cannot leave without doing this. Try the legendary blue corn quesadillas from the local food stalls at the entrance. Trust me on this. Okay, now let's hop across the country and track those other travelers, the Western Wonders. While the Eastern monarchs are hanging out in Mexico, their cousins are seeking out these perfect little microclimates all along the California coast. One of the absolute must-see spots on the West Coast is the Pismo State Beach Monarch Grove. It's incredibly easy to get to, it's perfect for families, and it's often the site with the most butterflies in the whole state. It's literally right off Highway 1, so it's super accessible. You'll see these massive, heavy clusters just dripping from the eucalyptus trees. And the best tip here? Try to visit midday, between about 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's when the volunteer docents are usually out with high-powered telescopes, so you can get an unbelievably close look. All right, next up is a place that calls itself Butterfly Town, USA. And let me tell you, they take that nickname very, very seriously. Welcome to Pacific Grove. This spot is so unique because the sanctuary is tucked right into a residential neighborhood. It's got this gentle, flat path that's just perfect for photographers. And when I say they're serious about protecting the butterflies, there's a local law, a $1,000 fine for even touching one. $1,000! Seeing this spectacle is one thing, but it's so important to remember that we are all a part of this story. This is an incredibly fragile miracle, and our role in helping preserve it has never been more critical. So that really leads to the big question, right? What is your role in all of this? Whether you're lucky enough to visit one of these sites or you're watching from thousands of miles away, there are real things every single one of us can do. If you do get to visit, the rules are simple, but they are vital. First, look, but never, ever touch. The oils from our skin can actually damage their delicate wings. Second, please skip the bug spray and perfumes. Those chemicals can be toxic to them. Third, use a zoom lens on your camera instead of trying to get physically close. And finally, a practical tip. Dress in layers. It gets surprisingly cold in the mornings while you're waiting for the sun to come up and warm them. And there's a really critical reason for all this caution. In 2022, the migratory monarch was officially listed as an endangered species. This isn't just about losing a beautiful sight. We're talking about a species on the brink, threatened by things like habitat loss and our changing climate. But you absolutely do not have to travel to make a difference. The single most important thing you can do right from home is plant native milkweed. It is the only food that monarchs' caterpillars eat. It's literally their baby food. You can also add some nectar-rich flowers to give the adults fuel. And just make sure you're planting the right stuff. Use a resource like the Xerces Society's Milkweed Finder online to see which plants are native to your specific area. So it all really comes down to this. This tiny, fragile insect travels 3,000 miles against all the odds just to survive another year. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, what are we willing to do to meet it halfway?